The transport shuttle rattled as it broke through the atmosphere of Vorath. Rebecca Stone pressed her face against the small window, watching purple clouds swirl past. She had traveled 3 months to reach this place, carrying cargo that most people would consider insane. In the seat beside her, a reinforced containment unit hummed quietly. Inside that unit was Subject 7, though Rebecca preferred to call him Badger. He was sleeping right now, which was good. When he was awake, he tried to eat everything. The Galactic Council had invited Earth to participate in the Millennium Hunt. This tournament happened once every 1,000 years, and species from across known space brought their finest predators to compete. It was supposed to be an honor. Rebecca's government superiors had spent weeks arguing about what to send. Some wanted to send a polar bear. Others suggested a saltwater crocodile. A few idiots even proposed sending a human with weapons, which completely missed the point of the competition. Rebecca had suggested the honey badger. Everyone laughed at her too. The shuttle touched down on a landing platform that seemed to stretch for miles. Through the window, Rebecca saw creatures she had only read about in xenobiology reports. A Kralix delegation stood near a massive transport container. They were reptilian, covered in dark green scales that glistened under the artificial lights. Their predator was already causing a commotion. Handlers struggled to control something that looked like a 6-legged lizard the size of a small car. Acid dripped from its mouth, hissing when it hit the metal floor. Further down the platform, the Tornathi had gathered around their entry. These aliens were tall and broad with skin like gray stone. Their predator matched their appearance, a beast built like a tank with armor plating and horns that could probably punch through a wall. It took 8 Tornathi just to guide the creature down a ramp. The Quinn representatives moved in perfect synchronization, their insect-like bodies clicking and chittering as they communicated. Their hunting pack contained 7 individuals, each one sleek and fast with too many legs and mandibles that looked sharp enough to cut metal. Even separated into different containers, the creatures moved at exactly the same time. Hive mind, Rebecca thought. That would be hard to beat. The shuttle door opened with a hiss of pressurized air. Rebecca grabbed the handle of Subject 7's containment unit and pulled it down the ramp. The unit had wheels, thankfully, because it weighed about 200 pounds. Most of that weight was reinforcement. Honey badgers were exceptional escape artists. A greeting party waited at the bottom of the ramp. The lead figure was a Kralix taller than the others, wearing what looked like ceremonial armor. His scales had a golden tint that marked him as someone important. Behind him stood representatives from a dozen other species, all watching Rebecca with obvious curiosity. "Welcome to Vorath," the lead Kralix said. His translator device made his voice sound smooth, almost musical. "I am Ambassador Huron. We are honored that Earth has chosen to participate in this historic event." Rebecca nodded politely. "Thank you for having us." Huron's eyes drifted down to the containment unit. "And this is your entry?" "This is Subject 7. May we see it?" Rebecca had expected this. She pressed a button on the side of the unit and one wall became transparent. Inside, Badger was awake now. He looked up at the gathered aliens with small black eyes that showed absolutely no fear. He was about 3 feet long, with gray fur on his back and black fur on his belly. His face was broad and flat with small rounded ears and a wet nose. Silence fell over the greeting party. Then someone laughed. It was a chittering sound that came from one of the Quinn. Within seconds, the laughter spread. The Tornathi made deep rumbling sounds that shook the platform. Even some of Huron's own delegation joined in. "You cannot be serious," Huron said, though he was smiling. "This is Earth's great predator." "This is our entry," Rebecca replied calmly. "It looks like a creature my offspring would keep as a pet." Huron leaned closer to the transparent wall. "What does it hunt? Insects? Small rodents?" "Everything," Rebecca said. "He hunts everything." That got more laughter. Huron straightened up, his smile growing wider. "Earth sends warriors to negotiate trade deals and explorers to chart dangerous systems. You have a reputation for boldness. Yet for the Millennium Hunt you bring this? A creature no larger than a Kralix infant?" Rebecca met his eyes. "You'll understand soon enough." Huron's smile faltered slightly at her tone, but the laughter around them continued. A tournament official approached, a floating orb with multiple sensor arrays. The orb's mechanical voice spoke in perfect English. "Dr. Stone, I am Orlath, Master of Ceremonies for the Millennium Hunt. Please follow me to the registration area." We must document your entry and explain the competition rules. Rebecca pulled the containment unit behind her as she followed Orlath across the platform. Behind her, she could still hear the aliens talking and laughing. Let them laugh, she thought. They would change their tune soon enough. The registration area was a massive hall filled with equipment and monitoring stations. Orlath guided her to a scanning platform. Please place your entry here for biological analysis. Rebecca lifted the containment unit onto the platform. Sensors hummed and beeped as they examined Badger from every angle. The honey badger, completely unconcerned with the advanced alien technology studying him, tried to bite the scanner beam. Fascinating, Orlath said, reviewing the data. Thick skin, powerful jaws, strong digging claws. But the mass is quite low. Only 14 kilograms. Don't let the size fool you, Rebecca said. I have been hosting this tournament for 3 cycles, Orlath replied. I have seen many predators. Your entry is unusual, I will grant you that. But size and power typically determine success in the hunts. Typically, Rebecca agreed. But not always. Orlath's sensors focused on her. You seem confident. I've worked with honey badgers for 10 years, Rebecca said. I know what they're capable of. Then you understand the rules? Each predator enters a controlled biome alone. They must survive, hunt, and adapt to various challenges. The biomes are designed to test every aspect of predator capability. Some entries do not survive. Subject 7 will survive, Rebecca said with certainty. We shall see. Orlath processed the registration. Your entry will compete in 2 days. Until then, you may rest in the provided quarters. Food and amenities have been prepared for human biology. Rebecca thanked Orlath and took Subject 7 to her assigned quarters. Once inside, she opened a small viewing port on the containment unit. Badger looked up at her with those fearless black eyes. They all think you're a joke, she told him. They think Earth made a mistake. Badger yawned, showing impressive teeth. Let's prove them wrong. The arena floor gleamed under bright lights as thousands of spectators filled the viewing galleries. Rebecca stood in the handlers section watching multiple screens that showed different biomes. Over the past 2 days, she had witnessed hunts that would have terrified most Earth animals. The Kralix acid spitter had melted through solid rock to reach prey hiding underground. The Tornathi beast had charged through obstacles that would have stopped a military vehicle. The Quinpack had demonstrated coordination that seemed almost telepathic, taking down creatures 3 times their size without a single wasted movement. Each performance had been impressive. The audience had roared with approval. Betting pools had formed, with various species wagering enormous sums on their favorites. Earth's entry had the worst odds. Most bookmakers were offering 100 to 1 against Subject 7 even surviving his biome run. Rebecca didn't care about the odds. She checked the containment unit one more time. Badger was alert and active, which meant he was probably hungry. That was perfect. A hungry honey badger was a motivated honey badger. The viewing screen switched to show Badger's assigned biome. The tournament officials had really outdone themselves. The environment looked designed to kill. Rocky terrain covered in thorny vegetation stretched across several acres. Pools of bubbling liquid that might have been acid or poison dotted the landscape. In the distance, Rebecca could see movement. Large predators patrolled their territories. Smaller, faster creatures darted between rocks, and everywhere there were dangers. Venomous plants that would react to touch. Hidden pits. Temperature zones that shifted from freezing to boiling. Ambassador Huron appeared beside Rebecca's station. He had made a point of visiting every handler, offering encouragement and discussing strategy. When he reached Rebecca, his expression was almost pitying. Dr. Stone, he said, it is not too late to withdraw your entry. The biome selected for Earth's run is particularly harsh. We would understand if you chose to protect your creature. He doesn't need protection, Rebecca said. Please. Huron gestured at the screens. Look at those predators. Some are twice the size of your entry. The venomous serpents alone could kill a Kralix in seconds. Then it's good we brought a honey badger and not a Kralix. Huron's expression hardened slightly. You risk embarrassing your world. Or making it famous, Rebecca countered. Let's start the run. Orlath's voice echoed through the arena. Attention. Earth's entry, designated Subject 7, will now begin its evaluation. Handlers, release your predator. Rebecca pressed the release button. The containment unit's door slid open. For a moment, Badger sat there looking around at his new environment. Then he climbed out and started walking. Not running, not stalking. just walking like he was taking a casual stroll through a park. The audience made various sounds of amusement. On a nearby viewing platform, a group of Tornati were making their rumbling laugh sound. Even some of the other handlers were smiling. Badger wandered through the rocky terrain, occasionally stopping to sniff at something interesting. He seemed completely unbothered by the hostile environment around him. A thorny plant brushed against his side. The thorns bent against his thick skin without penetrating. He barely noticed. Then he found the snake nest. The serpents were called throat cutters in the common tongue. They were about 6 feet long, fast as lightning, and carried venom that attacked the nervous system. 3 of them had made a nest in a crevice between 2 large rocks. They were territorial and aggressive. The tournament officials had placed this nest specifically to test how predators handled multiple threats simultaneously. Badger smelled the nest and immediately started digging. His powerful front claws scraped away dirt and small rocks. The snakes, disturbed by the intrusion, came boiling out of their hiding place. All 3 struck at once. Their fangs sank into Badger's face and neck. Venom pumped into his bloodstream. The audience went silent. On the medical monitor, Rebecca could see Badger's vital signs react to the venom. His heart rate increased, but he didn't stop digging. He didn't even slow down. One of the snakes tried to escape. Badger caught it behind the head and bit down. His jaws crushed the serpent's spine. He dropped the dead snake and grabbed another one. This one managed to wrap around his neck, constricting. Badger seemed annoyed. He rolled onto his back and scraped the snake against the rocks until it let go, then bit it in half. The third snake was smarter. It tried to slither away quickly. Badger chased it down, moving faster than Rebecca had seen him move before. He caught the snake and killed it with one bite. Then he sat down and ate all 3 serpents, starting with the heads. The silence in the arena was complete. Rebecca glanced at the medical monitor again. The venom was still in Badger's system, but his body was already processing it. Honey badgers had evolved alongside some of Earth's most venomous snakes. Their resistance to venom was legendary. Ambassador Huron stared at the screen. "Why didn't it die?" "Honey badgers have a high resistance to venom," Rebecca explained. "They also have extremely thick skin. Those fangs probably barely reached his bloodstream, but it was bitten multiple times." "Yes." "And it just continued hunting?" "That's what honey badgers do." On screen, Badger finished his meal and continued walking. He seemed to be following his nose, probably detecting other sources of food. The audience slowly began making noise again. Questions in various languages filled the viewing galleries. The betting boards began updating rapidly as people rushed to change their wagers. Badger's next encounter came quickly. A predator that the tournament called a rockstalker emerged from behind a boulder. It was a 6-legged creature with natural armor plating and claws designed for climbing and killing. It was easily 3 times Badger's size. The rockstalker was an ambush predator, fast and deadly. It had killed 2 other tournament entries in previous years. The rockstalker charged. Badger turned to face it without any visible fear or concern. The larger predator swung a clawed limb at Badger's head. Badger ducked under the swing and bit the rockstalker's leg. The creature screamed and tried to shake Badger off. Badger held on and bit harder. The fight lasted 3 minutes. The rockstalker used every advantage it had. Size, strength, armor, multiple limbs. None of it mattered. Badger stayed low, making himself a difficult target. When he got hit, he absorbed the damage and kept fighting. When he bit something, he didn't let go. The rockstalker tried to run. Badger chased it and brought it down. When the fight ended, the rockstalker was dead. Badger had injuries. Blood matted his fur. One ear was torn. But he was already eating his kill, completely unbothered by his wounds. The viewing galleries erupted in noise. Species that Rebecca couldn't even name were shouting and gesturing at the screens. The betting boards crashed as too many people tried to access them at once. Tournament officials rushed around, checking equipment and verifying that what they were seeing was real. Rebecca watched Orlath approach her station. The floating orb sensors were focused intently on the screen showing Badger. "Dr. Stone," Orlath said quietly, "what exactly have you brought to our tournament?" Rebecca smiled. "That's a honey badger, also known as a ratel, scientific name Mellivora capensis, native to Earth. And that right there is why you don't judge a predator by its size." On screen, Badger finished eating and started walking again. He was looking for his next meal. The biome had plenty more challenges waiting. But watching him move through that deadly environment like he owned it, Rebecca knew something the rest of the galaxy was just starting to understand. Nothing was going to stop him. Hour 7 of Subject 7's biome run broke every pattern the tournament officials had established over thousands of years. Predators were supposed to rest after major fights. They were supposed to show caution after taking injuries. They were supposed to have limits. Badger apparently missed that memo. Rebecca had stopped counting the encounters. After the Rockstalker, Badger had found a colony of insect-like creatures that sprayed corrosive chemicals. He had raided their hive, gotten covered in their defensive secretions, and eaten them anyway. Then he discovered a watering hole defended by territorial amphibians. The amphibians had sharp teeth and aggressive attitudes. Badger fought 4 of them, killed 2, and the other 2 fled. Now he was digging into a burrow system that housed something the officials called spike rats. The viewing galleries had transformed from a casual sporting event into something closer to a religious experience. Aliens from species that normally hated each other stood side by side, watching the screens in shared disbelief. The betting boards had given up trying to calculate odds. Every analyst's prediction model had crashed. This wasn't supposed to be possible. A Quinn representative approached Rebecca's station. Its compound eyes reflected the light from the viewing screens in strange patterns. "Dr. Stone, I am called Talvin. I speak for the Quinn delegation." "Hello," Rebecca said, not taking her eyes off the screen where Badger was currently wrestling with something that looked like a cross between a porcupine and a bear. "We wish to understand," Talvin said. "Our hunters are bred specifically for their task. Generation after generation refined. Is this creature also bred?" "No, he's wild-caught." Talvin's antennae twitched. "Wild? You mean this behavior is natural?" "Completely natural, but the venom resistance, the thick skin, the refusal to acknowledge injury or danger. These are engineered traits, surely." Rebecca finally looked at the Quinn. "Everything you're seeing is the result of natural evolution. Honey badgers evolved on Earth alongside some of the deadliest snakes in the world. So they developed venom resistance. They have to dig through hard soil and fight off larger predators. So they developed thick skin and powerful jaws. And the attitude?" She gestured at the screen where Badger had just driven off the spike bear thing. "That's just how they are. They don't know how to quit." "Impossible," Talvin said quietly. "What kind of world produces such creatures?" "A difficult one." On screen, Badger pulled a spike rat from its burrow and bit it. The tournament had been running for 8 hours now. Most predators were evaluated for 3 to 4 hours maximum. After that, they were recovered and given medical treatment. But Badger showed no signs of slowing down. If anything, he seemed to be getting more active as he warmed up. Ambassador Huron had been standing at the back of Rebecca's station for the past hour. He hadn't said a word. Now he stepped forward. "Dr. Stone, I owe you an apology." "You owe me several," Rebecca said. "But I'll settle for one. When you arrived, I mocked your entry. I suggested it looked like a pet for children. I was wrong." Huron watched as Badger finished eating the spike rat and immediately started digging into another burrow. "I have never seen anything like this creature. Most people haven't. The Kralix acid spitter is our pride. It was bred from genetic lines going back 10,000 years. It represents the pinnacle of Kralix hunting evolution. Your creature defeated a rockstalker that killed one of our acid spitters in a previous tournament." "I saw that in the records," Rebecca said. "How is this possible? Your entry is so small." Rebecca pulled up an information file on her tablet and handed it to Huron. "This is everything we know about honey badgers. Read it if you want. The short version is that size doesn't matter as much as attitude. Honey badgers will fight anything. Lions, leopards, hyenas, Cape buffalo. They've been recorded attacking full-grown elephants. But why? Surely they cannot win against such large opponents. Usually they do win, or at least they survive, because predators expect prey to run or submit. Honey badgers do neither. They fight with everything they have and they never stop. Most predators decide it's not worth the trouble and leave them alone." Huron stared at the tablet screen. "Your world is insane." "Our world is hard," Rebecca corrected. "It made everything on it hard to kill." The tournament officials called an emergency conference. Rebecca was required to attend. She left her station and followed a guide through white corridors to a council chamber. Orlath was already there, along with representatives from 24 species. Everyone looked shaken. "Dr. Stone," Orlath began, "we have a situation. Your entry has been active for 9 hours. It has encountered 17 different threats. It has killed or driven off every single one. It has consumed enough food for a creature 3 times its size, and according to our medical scanners, it is still not showing signs of fatigue. Honey badgers have high metabolisms, Rebecca explained. And yes, they can go for a long time if there's food available. This exceeds all tournament parameters, a Tornathi official said. His voice was deep and rumbling. We designed these biomes to test predators to their limits. Your creature appears to have no limits. Oh, he has limits, Rebecca said. Eventually he'll need to sleep. Probably in another few hours. Another few hours? Orlath's sensor spun. Dr. Stone, the record for longest active hunting period in tournament history is 6 hours. Your entry is approaching 10 hours and has shown no decline in performance. So we're breaking records. That's good, right? The officials exchanged looks. Finally, a small amphibian representative spoke up. Her voice came through a translator as a soft chirp. Dr. Stone, we are concerned about the other entries. The biomes are separated, but there are connection points for emergency extraction. If your creature were to somehow access those connection points, you think Badger would attack the other predators? We are worried about that possibility, yes. Rebecca considered this. Has he shown any interest in the connection points? No, Orlath admitted. He appears focused entirely on hunting and eating. Then I wouldn't worry. Honey badgers are territorial, but they're not aggressive for no reason. As long as he has access to food and nobody corners him, he'll probably just keep doing what he's doing. Probably? The amphibian representative looked alarmed. You are not certain? Nobody is certain with honey badgers. That's part of their charm. This answer did not seem to comfort anyone. The officials debated among themselves for several minutes. Finally, Orlath spoke again. We will continue the evaluation for now. But Dr. Stone, please prepare to extract your entry if the situation changes. We cannot risk an uncontrolled interaction between predators. Rebecca agreed and returned to her station. On the screens, Badger had found a field of plants that released toxic spores when disturbed. He was walking right through them, digging up their roots and eating them. The spores covered his fur like yellow dust. He sneezed once and kept digging. Talvin had returned to Rebecca's station. The Quinn watched the screens with what might have been fascination or horror. With insect faces, it was hard to tell. Your creature is eating poison plants, Talvin observed. Honey badgers eat bee larvae, Rebecca said. They'll eat just about anything. What can kill them? Big predators if they get lucky. Cars, disease, old age eventually. But not poison, not venom, not other predators of reasonable size. Not usually, no. Talvin's antennae drooped. The Quinn have hunted across 100 worlds. We pride ourselves on understanding predator behavior. This creature violates every principle we know. Maybe your principles need updating, Rebecca suggested. On screen, Badger finished eating the toxic plants and started walking toward a new section of the biome. The temperature in that section was dropping rapidly. Ice was forming on the rocks. Steam rose from Badger's breath. He just kept walking, completely unconcerned. Somewhere in the viewing galleries, someone started chanting Earth's name. Others picked it up. Within minutes, thousands of voices in dozens of languages were shouting for the little creature on the screen, who refused to quit. Rebecca smiled. This was going better than she had hoped. The galaxy was learning something important today. It was learning that Earth didn't produce weak things, not its animals, and definitely not its people. Badger disappeared into a cave in the ice zone. The cameras followed him inside. Something large moved in the darkness. Badger walked toward it without hesitation. Here we go again, Rebecca thought. Alarms shrieked through the tournament facility. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Rebecca ran toward the main control center with her heart pounding. Something had gone badly wrong. The message on her communicator had been brief and terrifying. Containment breach in Sector 4. Multiple predator zones compromised. She burst through the control center doors to find total chaos. Dozens of officials shouted at screens showing various biomes. Technical staff worked frantically at control panels, and in the center of it all stood Orlath, the tournament master's sensors spinning in every direction at once. What happened? Rebecca demanded. A Tornathi engineer turned to her. His stone-like face was cracked with stress lines. Structural failure in the barrier system. We are unsure of the cause. 3 biome zones have intersected. The Kralix acid spitter zone, the frozen cave system where your entry currently hunts, and a neutral buffer zone. Rebecca's blood went cold. Where is Subject 7? Your creature was in the cave system when the barriers failed. The engineer pulled up a map on the main screen. The acid spitter's containment released simultaneously. Both predators are now in an overlapping zone. Get them separated. Now. We are trying. Orlath's mechanical voice had taken on a stressed quality. The backup barriers are not responding. We have sent technical teams, but they cannot enter while the predators are active. Dr. Stone, we need your permission to use lethal force if necessary. Lethal force? Against which one? Either, both. We cannot allow this situation to escalate. If they kill each other, the diplomatic consequences will be severe. Multiple species have protested. Ambassador Huron has already filed an official complaint. Rebecca stared at the screens. One showed Badger emerging from the cave, sniffing the air. Another showed the Kralix acid spitter moving through what used to be a solid barrier wall. The creature was agitated, probably confused by the sudden environmental change, and it was heading straight toward Badger's location. No lethal force, Rebecca said firmly. Let me extract Subject 7. Give me a containment team and I'll go in personally. Absolutely not, Orlath replied. The risk is too great. Then what's your plan? Wait and hope they don't find each other? That cave system connects to the acid spitter's zone now. They will meet. We can tranquilize them. Your tranquilizers won't work on a honey badger fast enough. His metabolism processes drugs too quickly. A new voice cut through the argument. Then we must tranquilize the acid spitter and extract the earth creature first. Ambassador Huron strode into the control center. His golden scales seemed darker under the emergency lights. I will not have my world's finest predator killed due to technical failures. Your acid spitter is 3 times larger and has weapons that can melt steel, Rebecca shot back. If they meet, my entry is at a disadvantage. Huron's laugh was bitter. Your creature has spent 12 hours destroying everything it encountered. I have watched it fight poison, fire, ice, and a dozen different predators. I am more worried about the acid spitter. This statement made everyone pause. The fact that a Kralix ambassador was worried about a honey badger instead of his own species' apex predator spoke volumes. We are wasting time, Talvin said. The Quinn had entered the control center unnoticed. Look at the screens, everyone turned. The screens showed both predators clearly now. The acid spitter had sensed something. Its head swung back and forth, tasting the air with a forked tongue. Badger had stopped walking. He stood perfectly still, watching something in the distance. They had detected each other. Activate the barriers, Orlath commanded. Emergency power. Do it now. A technical team worked frantically at their stations. Emergency power is not responding. The system is completely down in that sector. Then reroute from another sector. We are trying. It will take at least 10 minutes. On screen, the acid spitter moved faster. It had locked onto Badger's location and was approaching with clear hostile intent. The creature's body was built for killing. Every movement showed lethal efficiency. Acid dripped from its mouth in anticipation. Badger watched the approaching threat with those small black eyes. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He just stood there waiting. Rebecca recognized that posture. She had seen it before in the field. That was Badger's fighting stance, Dr. Stone. Huron's voice was quiet. Can your creature survive this? I don't know, Rebecca admitted. Honey badgers are tough, but that acid spitter is built to kill things much larger than him. We should stop this. How? You heard them. Barriers are down. We can't get teams in there safely. And tranquilizers won't work fast enough. Huron made a sound like grinding rocks. Then we watch. The acid spitter charged. It moved faster than something that size should be able to move. 6 legs churned across the ground, closing the distance in seconds. Its mouth opened wide. Acid sprang forward in a deadly stream. The acid hit the ground where Badger had been standing. Badger dodged to the side with surprising speed. The acid missed him completely. The viewing galleries had filled with spectators again. Word of the containment breach had spread fast. Now thousands of aliens watched as the 2 predators faced off. The noise was incredible. Shouts, screams, clicks, roars in 100 different languages. Badger circled to the side. The acid spitter tried to spray him again. Badger went low, his belly nearly touching the ground. The acid passed over him. He darted forward and bit the acid spitter's rear leg. His teeth sank in deep. The acid spitter screamed and tried to shake him off. Badger held on. The larger creature thrashed violently. It rolled, trying to crush Badger against the ground. Badger let go and rolled with it, ending up back on his feet. The acid spitter's leg was bleeding. Good. Badger had drawn first blood, but the acid spitter was far from finished. It rounded on Badger with pure rage in its eyes. This time it didn't spray acid. It simply charged and tried to bite. Its jaws were massive, filled with teeth designed to tear meat. Those jaws snapped shut on empty air as Badger dodged again. Rebecca realized something as she watched the fight unfold. The acid spitter was stronger. It was bigger. It had better weapons. But Badger was faster and more agile. And he had no fear at all. Every time the acid spitter attacked, Badger slipped away and counterattacked. Bite and retreat. Dodge and strike. He was fighting smart and credible, Telvin whispered. Your creature is winning. Don't count on it, Rebecca said. That acid spitter only needs to land one good hit. But one good hit wasn't coming. The acid spitter was getting frustrated. Frustrated predators made mistakes. It overextended on a bite attempt and Badger was there. He latched onto the acid spitter's throat. Not the killing bite, not yet, but a controlling bite. The acid spitter panicked. It threw itself around wildly, crashing into rocks. Badger absorbed every impact and held on. The control center was silent. Every being in the room watched the screens with total focus. This fight was beyond anyone's predictions or understanding. This was raw nature, stripped of technology and civilization. This was what happened when two apex predators met with no rules and no mercy. The acid spitter was weakening. Blood loss and exhaustion were taking their toll. Its movements became slower, less coordinated. Badger never loosened his grip. He had found the optimal position and he wasn't letting go. The larger creature tried to spray acid one more time. The acid got on Badger's back. His thick skin protected him from the worst of it, but Rebecca saw him flinch. It hurt, but pain didn't make him let go. Finally, the acid spitter collapsed. It wasn't dead, but it was done fighting. It lay on the ground, breathing hard, defeated. Badger released his grip and stepped back. He was injured. Burns on his back. Blood on his face. One eye swollen nearly shut. But he was standing. He gave the acid spitter one last look, then turned and walked away. He wasn't interested in finishing the kill. The threat was neutralized. That was enough. Time to find food and rest. The silence in the control center broke as everyone started talking at once. Rebecca heard phrases in multiple languages. Impossible. How? What kind of creature? Ambassador Huron stood frozen, staring at the screen. His golden scales had gone pale. Orleth, Rebecca said quietly. I need an extraction team. Subject 7 needs medical attention. Of course. Orlath's sensors focused on her. Dr. Stone, what have we witnessed? A honey badger being a honey badger, Rebecca said. Now get me my extraction team. The medical bay smelled like antiseptic and foreign chemicals. Rebecca sat beside Subject 7's recovery unit, watching readouts that showed his vital signs stabilizing. The tournament's veterinary staff had done excellent work. They had treated the acid burns, stitched the deeper wounds, and given him fluids. Now Badger slept. Probably for the first time in 14 hours. He had earned the rest, but Rebecca couldn't rest. A summons had arrived an hour ago. The Galactic Council wanted to speak with her immediately. Not just the tournament officials, the actual council, the governing body that oversaw relations between hundreds of worlds. They were holding an emergency session, and Earth's representative was required to attend. This couldn't be good. She checked on Badger one more time. The medical staff promised to contact her immediately if his condition changed. Then she followed a council escort through corridors that grew progressively more ornate. Finally, they reached a massive chamber with a domed ceiling that showed real-time views of space. Stars wheeled overhead. Nebulae glowed in impossible colors. The council members sat in a circle arrangement, each on a platform suited to their species' needs. Rebecca recognized most of them from diplomatic briefings. The Kralix held 3 seats. The Tornathi had 5. The Quinn had 4. A dozen other species she knew less about occupied the remaining positions. At the center sat Orlath and several other tournament officials. Everyone was looking at her. Dr. Rebecca Stone of Earth, a voice boomed through the chamber. It came from a Tornathi elder whose gray skin was marked with age lines. You are called before this council to answer questions regarding your world and the creature you brought to our tournament. Rebecca walked to the center of the circle. I'm happy to answer questions. Let us begin simply, the Tornathi elder said. The creature called Subject 7. You have referred to it as a honey badger. Is this correct? Yes, sir. Honey badger is the common name. The scientific name is Mellivora capensis. And this honey badger, a Kralix council member spoke up. Is it your world's apex predator? Here we go, Rebecca thought. No, the honey badger is not Earth's apex predator. Stunned silence filled the chamber. Finally, Talvin spoke from the Quinn section. Dr. Stone, we have all witnessed what your creature is capable of. It survived extreme environments. It fought and defeated multiple predators. It bested a Kralix acid spitter bred from 10,000 years of genetic refinement. If this is not your apex predator, then what is? Humans are, Rebecca said simply. We're the apex predator on Earth. The chamber erupted in noise. Questions flew from every direction. Rebecca raised her hands for quiet. Eventually, the Tornathi elder restored order with a booming command. Explain, the elder said. Humans appear physically weak compared to the honey badger. You have no natural weapons, no armor, no venom resistance that we can detect. That's all true, Rebecca agreed. We don't have the honey badger's skin or venom resistance. We're not as strong as Earth's bears or big cats. We can't fly like our eagles. We can't swim like our sharks, but we're still the apex predator. How? This question came from Ambassador Huron. He looked genuinely confused. Rebecca pulled up her tablet and projected an image into the center of the chamber. It showed a human in cold weather gear standing on a snowy mountain peak. Humans climb mountains that kill regularly. We do it for fun. She changed the image. Now it showed a human in diving equipment descending into dark water. We explore ocean depths that would crush most species. We build machines to go even deeper. Another image. We cross deserts. We live in frozen tundra. We settle in jungles full of predators and diseases. Many species explore dangerous environments, a small amphibian council member pointed out. This does not make you unique. You're right, Rebecca said. But here's what does make us unique. She changed the image again. This time it showed a human hand holding a primitive spear. We make tools. We solve problems. We adapt. The honey badger is tough enough to survive anywhere on Earth through pure physical ability. Humans survive everywhere on Earth through intelligence and determination. She zoomed out on the image, showing a progression. Spears became arrows. Arrows became guns. Guns became spacecraft. We started with sticks and rocks. Now we travel between stars. And the whole time, we kept the same attitude that the honey badger has. Nothing is too dangerous. Nothing is impossible. We just have to figure out how. Talvin's antennae twitched. You are saying humans have the honey badger's mentality but with tool-using intelligence. Exactly. That is terrifying. Rebecca shrugged. Maybe, but it's also why we're here. Earth didn't make survival easy for us. It made it hard. So we got tough. Every creature on Earth is a product of that same harsh environment. The Tornathi elder leaned forward. Dr. Stone, I must ask the question that I believe troubles many in this chamber. Earth is described in your diplomatic files as a death world. Class 4 dangerous. Is this accurate? If anything, that's understated, Rebecca said. Earth has extreme temperature variations, weather patterns that can destroy cities, plate tectonics that cause earthquakes and volcanoes, an atmosphere that generates massive storms, and a biosphere that's been in an arms race for billions of years. Everything evolves to kill everything else more efficiently. And humans evolved in this environment, a Kralix council member said slowly, along with everything else you've seen. The honey badger isn't special on Earth. It's just one of thousands of species that evolved to survive no matter what. We have parasites that control their hosts' minds, bacteria that eat plastic, plants that can grow through concrete, animals that survive being frozen solid. And yes, we have humans who looked at a world trying to kill us and decided to build civilizations anyway. The chamber was quiet. Rebecca could see the council members processing this information. Some looked thoughtful. Others looked worried. A few looked scared. The Millennium Hunt was supposed to be entertainment, Orlath spoke up. A friendly competition between species. Your entry has transformed it into something else entirely. It has forced us to reconsider our assumptions about what makes a predator successful. I didn't mean to cause trouble, Rebecca said. You invited Earth to participate. I brought a representative sample. A representative sample, the Tornathi elder repeated. Dr. Stone, is everything on your world like the honey badger? Not everything. But a lot of things, yes. Earth selects for toughness. It selects for adaptability. It selects for the ability to survive when everything is trying to kill you. Then Earth truly is a Deathworld in every sense. We prefer to think of it as home. The council members began conferring among themselves. Rebecca waited. Finally, the Tornathi elder spoke again. Dr. Stone, this council must discuss matters of policy. You are dismissed for now. Please remain available for further questions. Rebecca bowed politely and left the chamber. Outside, she found Ambassador Huron waiting. The Kralix looked like he hadn't slept. Dr. Stone, he said quietly, I owe you more than an apology. I owe you thanks. Thanks for what? For teaching us something important. For years, the Kralix have prided ourselves on our predators. We believed ourselves superior in this regard. You have shown us our arrogance, he paused. The acid spitter will recover. The medical staff believes he will be fully healed within a month. I'm glad to hear that. I am less glad to report that he is traumatized. He refuses to eat. He trembles when he senses movement. A creature bred for 10,000 years to know no fear now knows fear, because he met something from Earth. Rebecca didn't know what to say to that. I'm sorry, don't be. It is a valuable lesson. We thought we understood predators. We thought we understood danger. We were wrong. Huron looked at her with what might have been respect. Your world is extraordinary, Dr. Stone, and I suspect your people are even more extraordinary than the honey badger. We're just stubborn, Rebecca said. Like Badger. We don't quit. Yes, Huron said softly. That is what worries me. Rebecca returned to the medical bay. Badger was awake now, trying to bite through the recovery unit's feeding tube. The medical staff looked exhausted. Apparently keeping a honey badger contained was harder than treating one. Rebecca smiled. Let them struggle. Let the whole galaxy struggle with this new understanding. Earth had just announced itself in a way that no diplomatic mission could match. They had shown the galaxy what came from a death world, and more importantly, they had shown that size and strength weren't everything. Attitude mattered. Determination mattered. The refusal to quit mattered. Badger had taught the galaxy that lesson. Now it was up to humanity to prove they had learned the same lessons from the same harsh teacher. Earth was playing in the big leagues now, and everyone was watching. 3 months after the tournament, Rebecca stood in her office at the Earth Wildlife Conservation Center and watched news feeds from across the galaxy. The story had grown far beyond what anyone expected. The Millennium Hunt was supposed to be a footnote in galactic history. Instead, it had become the most discussed event in recent memory. A Tornathi news network was showing footage of the honey badger fight for the 100th time. A Quinn cultural program was analyzing what the tournament revealed about Earth biology. Even the Kralix, who had every reason to want the story to die quietly, were running documentaries about Deathworld evolution. Earth had become famous, or maybe infamous. The distinction was getting blurry. Rebecca's communicator buzzed. She checked the message and groaned. Another interview request. This one was from a major galactic network that reached billions of viewers. They wanted her to bring Subject 7 and do a live demonstration. She deleted the message. Badger had done enough demonstrating. A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. Come in. Ambassador Huron entered. He looked different than he had at the tournament. Less arrogant, more thoughtful. He had traveled all the way to Earth specifically to see Rebecca. That spoke to how serious this visit was. Ambassador, Rebecca said, I didn't expect to see you here. I requested assignment to Earth, Huron replied. The Kralix government felt it was important to have someone with direct experience of your world's nature. I volunteered, so you're stuck with us now. Perhaps stuck is not the correct word. Fascinated might be better. Huron looked around the office. The walls were covered with pictures of Earth wildlife. Lions, elephants, crocodiles, bears. I have been studying your planet's ecology since returning from the tournament. It is remarkable. That's one word for it. Dr. Stone, I came here to discuss something serious. The Galactic Council is considering new classifications for Earth. Rebecca felt her stomach tighten. What kind of classifications? They wish to designate Earth as a protected world. No unauthorized visits. No immigration without extensive screening. Strict limits on what Earth species can be transported off-world. Huron paused. They are afraid of your world, Dr. Stone, and they are afraid of your people. That's ridiculous. We're not dangerous. Are you certain? You brought a small mammal to a tournament and it defeated creatures designed specifically for combat. You described this as a representative sample of Earth life. The Council looked at what else lives on your world and became concerned. Rebecca pulled up her tablet and showed Huron a document. I had to file reports. Do you know what the council was most worried about? Not the big predators, not sharks or crocodiles or polar bears. They were worried about the small things, parasites, viruses, bacteria. They're terrified that some Earth microbe will get loose on a station and cause a plague. Is that concern unreasonable? Maybe not, Rebecca admitted. But treating Earth like a quarantine zone isn't the answer either. We're part of the galactic community now. You can't just lock us away because we make you nervous. Huron settled into a chair. His large frame made the human furniture look fragile. I argued the same point to the council. Earth's inclusion strengthens the galaxy. Your people bring unique perspectives. Your technology is innovative. Your diplomatic corps has been professional and effective. Isolating you serves no purpose. Did they listen? Some did. Others are less convinced. The debate continues. Huron looked at her seriously. Dr. Stone, I need your help. The council needs proof that Earth is safe, that your people can be trusted to handle your world's biology responsibly. We've been handling it for thousands of years. On your own world, yes. But now you travel between stars. Now you bring Earth life to environments that have never encountered Deathworld species. The council wants assurances that you understand the responsibility this entails. Rebecca thought about this. The ambassador had a point. Earth life was tough. Earth life was adaptable. If something like an Earth bacterium got loose in an alien ecosystem that had no defenses against it, the results could be catastrophic. The same adaptability that made Earth species successful at home could make them invasive nightmares elsewhere. What kind of assurances are they looking for? Protocols, regulations, proof that Earth takes biosecurity seriously. Huron pulled out his own data device. I have drafted a proposal. With your expertise, we can refine it. Present something concrete to the council. Show them that Earth is willing to work within galactic safety standards. Rebecca took his device and began reading. The proposal was actually reasonable. Quarantine procedures for Earth organisms. Strict controls on what could leave Earth. Mandatory biological surveys before Earth species were introduced to new environments. Nothing that would prevent legitimate scientific exchange, but enough to prevent accidents. This could work, she said slowly, but it needs buy-in from Earth governments. And some of them won't like the restrictions. Then you must convince them. If Earth appears unwilling to regulate itself, the Council will regulate you instead. And their regulations will be far more restrictive than anything in my proposal. Rebecca knew he was right. The galaxy was scared of Earth's biology, scared of what else might be hiding on a planet that produced honey badgers as just another predator. That fear could turn into isolation or hostility if it wasn't managed carefully. I'll talk to my government contacts, she said, and I'll work on refining your proposal. But Ambassador, I need something from you in return. What do you need? Stop treating us like monsters. Yes, Earth is dangerous. Yes, our biology is intense. But we're not trying to hurt anyone. We just want to be part of the galaxy without being treated like we're about to explode at any moment. Huron was quiet for a long moment. You are correct. The fear is perhaps excessive. Earth life is dangerous, but so is life from many worlds. The Tornathi evolved on a high-gravity world. The Quinn come from a planet with extreme temperature variations. Every world has its hazards, exactly. We're just another world with another set of challenges. A more intense set of challenges, Huron corrected. But your point stands. Fear should not govern policy. Understanding should. They spent the next several hours working on the proposal together. Rebecca added technical details about Earth biosecurity measures already in place. Huron incorporated feedback from council members who were more open to cooperation. By the time they finished, they had something that might actually work. A framework for Earth to participate fully in galactic affairs while respecting the concerns of more fragile ecosystems. As Huron prepared to leave, he paused at the door. Dr. Stone, may I ask a personal question? Go ahead, the honey badger. Subject 7, where is he now? Rebecca smiled. Back where I found him. There's a wildlife preserve about 200 kilometers from here. He was released there last month. And how is he doing? According to the preserve staff, he immediately established a territory, drove off 3 competing males, and has been terrorizing the local prey population. He's doing great. Huron made a sound that might have been a laugh. Of course he is. It is a honey badger. They cannot help but be exactly what they are. That's true for all Earth life, Rebecca said. We are what we are. The galaxy can accept that or not, but we're not changing. After Huron left, Rebecca pulled up the monitoring feed from Badger's Preserve. The cameras showed him digging into a termite mound, completely focused on his task. He didn't know he was famous across the galaxy. He didn't care that he had changed how aliens viewed Earth. He was just being a honey badger. Rebecca's communicator buzzed again. More interview requests. A message from the Earth government asking for a briefing. 3 research proposals wanting to study Earth predators, and a rather panicked note from a space station asking for advice because someone's pet cat had somehow escaped containment and was now terrifying the maintenance crew. She laughed. Earth was in the galaxy now. All of Earth. The tough, stubborn, relentless part of Earth that refused to quit no matter what. The galaxy would adapt. It had no choice, just like Earth life had adapted to every challenge its harsh world threw at it. Rebecca started typing responses. There was work to do, protocols to establish, treaties to negotiate, a whole galaxy to convince that Earth was a partner, not a threat. It would take time. It would take patience. It would take the same stubborn determination that let honey badgers fight predators 3 times their size and win. Fortunately, stubbornness was something Earth had in abundance. Humans had learned from the same teacher that taught the honey badger. The same harsh world that said survival wasn't guaranteed and nothing came easy. They had learned to adapt, to persist, to never quit. The galaxy was about to learn what that meant, and Rebecca suspected that in time, they would be glad to have Earth on their side, because when you needed someone who wouldn't quit, who would face any challenge no matter how dangerous, who would keep fighting even when wounded and outnumbered, you wanted someone from Earth. Human or honey badger, the principle was the same. Deathworlders didn't give up. They didn't back down. They just kept going until they won, or until there was nothing left to fight. The galaxy would learn to respect that. Some already had. Others would follow, and Earth would take its place among the stars, bringing with it all the toughness and determination that made its species special. Rebecca looked at the monitoring feed one more time. Badger had finished with the termite mound and was walking off to find his next challenge. His fur was scruffy. His gait was casual. He looked like he didn't have a care in the world. But somewhere on a distant space station, a Kralix was watching that same feed and feeling the instinctive fear of a predator who had met something more dangerous than itself. Somewhere else, a Quinn was analyzing Badger's movement patterns and marveling at the efficiency. And across hundreds of worlds, beings who had never heard of Earth 3 months ago were learning a new truth. Never underestimate a Deathworlder, and never ever laugh at Earth's hunters, because even the small ones will prove you wrong. Share.